Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be a new video. This is going to be a simple pre-flop recap on how to play a spot which I played in real life. So the spot is a 1K final table on PokerStars. We're in the money, four-handed. There's a guy with 42 big blinds. I have 48 big blinds. Remi Lebo has 44 big blinds, and the big blind has 25 big blinds. So I open ace deuce, and Remi Lebo free bets to 9.6 big blinds, and it's going to be my option whether I want to call, four bet, go all in, have a four bet range. Typically in these spots, I see people going for a shove or a call only because they don't want to four bet for like a third of their stack. In my opinion, it makes a lot of sense to have a four bet range. I think he's not free betting something like, king queen suited or king jack suited or, ace 10 suited kind of hands. I think he's more polarized. I think he's going to have like maybe king jack off or ace 9 off or ace 5 off, those kind of hands. So he's not going to have many hands which can call a four bet. So against that, I feel like there's a big weakness in his strategy that he's going to be, and he'll be able to defend versus a shove, because when I shove for 45 big blinds, it's going to be very easy to defend because he just calls his value range. But he's going to have a weakness in his range where we can target that he's not going to have many flat calls versus our four bet. And instead of risking 45, we start to risk 16.7, which is a pretty good price. Once we've put in the 7 big blinds, so the pot's going to be around about 20 or 21, we're only going to be risking another 7 to win 21, which is a fantastic price. My logic is that ace deuce is the best hand to choose. He will free bet ace 5, ace 9, ace 8, ace king jack, lots of high cards. He will never have a deuce in his range when he free bets. He'll never have a deuce in his range here. So I think my first four bet should come from one blocker and one unblocker. So ace and a 2. I'll show you what I did in game. 1 second. So yeah, I went for the 16.7 min four bet, and I think it's good, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to run this spot on simple pre-flop, and I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, so I've run this spot here. You can see we have cutoff button, small blind, big blind, obviously, 25 in the big blind, 44, 48, 42. That was the stacks. So we can see the cutoff. First of all, let's just go through all the strategy. So cutoff, first of all, is playing somewhat tight. He's playing a 28% range. Usually from the cutoff, you'd play somewhere around 32 to 35. So decreasing our open range by around about 20 to 25% relative to our normal opening range, which is interesting. On the button here, you can see we're also playing quite tight. This is going to be a function of that being low antes and going to be difficult to play versus aggression versus free bets. So we can see here that we're not opening some hands like maybe king 7 off, queen 8 off, stuff like that. Some suited hands like 6-4 suited or pocket twos as well. So yeah, we go for the open anyway. So we go for the open. We're opening 43% here, and now you can see what the small blind range looks like. Okay, so we can see here the small blind range, which is what we face against, which is the 9. This is you can see here. It's a 9.2 big blind free bet, and you can see this happens 10% of the time. We have 8% flat calls, and we have 1.5% shove. So hands which really want to get shoved, like the first shoves are going to be ace queen offsuit, ace queen offsuit shoves, ace 5 suited shoves, ace 4 suited shoves, a little bit of king queen suited and king jack suited, although they prefer to be flat calls. You can see all of the suited broadways we all call. So our range is not going to have many hands which can call a four bet, because hands which can mostly call a four bet in most situations are going to be this region of hands here. So ace queen suited, ace jack suited, ace 10 suited, king 10 suited, king jack suited, king queen suited, queen jack suited, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited. There's no free bets, none all in there at all in the 9.2 big blind node. So there's no hands there which can really call a four bet. The pocket pairs, which could maybe call a four bet, again, these hands aren't going to be in there. The hands which might be able to call a four bet may be ace 6 suited, ace 2 suited, but it's not going to be that desirable really. And then all these offsuit combos are never going to want to call a four bet. So yeah, kind of interesting. We can see here that Ace King always wants to induce, Ace King suited, pure induce, Jacks plus pure induce, and tens is too thin to get it in. I think people probably induce a little bit too wide, so they're probably going to induce tens, I think, and they're maybe going to induce Ace Queen suited, but I think their range will be too bluff heavy. I think King Jack offsuit will be 100% free bet. Queen Jack will be more than 20%. King 10 will be more than 5%. Ace 9 will be more than 0%. King 8 suited, Queen 9 suited, Jack 9 suited will be more than 0%. So I think in general, people's ranges might be a little bit too bluff heavy here. But anyway, after this, we can see that the big blind 4-bet shoves with 7s plus, Ace Queen off, Ace Jack suited, King Queen suited, looks reasonable. And we can see here how we play in position as the button versus this large sizing. So you can see this sizing is very, very large. He goes to 9.2 big blinds. So he's forcing us to play pretty aggressive. And you can see here what happens. We start to have aggressive 4-bets. Ace 2 off is 4-betting. Ace 3 off is 4-betting. Ace 6 off is 4-betting. Ace 9 suited is 4-betting. What we can see here also is that Ace King suited is also always 4-betting. Always want to induce Ace King, and the main reason why we want to always induce Ace King is so that our opponents can't free bet, say, Ace 2, and then be able to 5-bet over the top with a really good combo, because they're just going to run into Ace King suited enough of the time because we have it at 100% frequency. We can see here that we just respond with lots of shoving. So we shove 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, Jacks. We shove a lot of the Queen Jack suited, the Queens, the King Queen, the Kings, the King Queen suited, the King Jack suited, the King 10 suited, the Ace 5 suited, the Ace 4 suited, the Ace 3 suited. We play really, really aggressive. So you can see here that we fold a lot. So we fold basically 25. We're folding here roughly 60, 65, 70% of the time, which is a lot. When we do go for the 4-bet, so this is going to be the 4-bet here. We 4-bet to 1650. We can see that our opponent is supposed to be 5-bet shoving sometimes with Ace 5 off. I don't think this is ever going to happen. 5-bet shoving Ace 6 suited. I don't think this is going to happen. Something interesting we can see here is that he never flat calls here because our range is too strong because we have Aces and Ace King suited in there. And in reality, we probably even have like Kings and Queens as well, potentially. Because our range is so strong, he never wants to flat call. So this is a good takeaway, is that when you get into some of these situations and someone does 4-bet like small or whatever, and you have Ace Queen off or King Queen off, and you feel like, oh my god, I'm getting such a good price, you really don't want to call. If you can justify calling, if his range is weak enough, if it's bluffy enough, you may as well shove because the dead money is a lot, and you're out of position. So, yeah. You can see here that even hands like 10s is folding. You can see hands like Ace Jack offsuit obviously folding, shoving maybe like 5% of the time, whatever it is. But in typical fashion, we can see not much calling of 4-bets going on final tables. And in general, you don't even see much calling of 3-bets going on, right? Like this is the response versus 3-bet. You can see we only call 3% of the time, even though we're opening here 44% range, we only call 3% of that 43%. So very, very important to not be calling 4-bets, calling 5-bets, playing massive bloated pots. If someone's range is weak enough that you can call, just go all in because the dead money will be enough already. Okay, so next thing we're going to look at is how the big blind plays. So we give the big blind a kind of two sizings because he only has 25 big blinds. So we give a small free bet to 6 big blinds and a shove for 25 big blinds, and obviously a call. Some things which are kind of interesting here, you can see his calling range. I think in game, what usually happens here is people call Queen 8, Jack 8, a few more suited stuff. I think it's quite reasonable. I think it's quite a reasonable calling range. I think folding these seems reasonable. Maybe people call 6-7, 7-6. I think maybe misconception is people call a lot of 7-5, 6-5, 8-5, 5-4, where they feel like they have like the lower cards in their range. You can see these hands are important folds as well. I think the shoving range is pretty interesting and good. So these hands here, like 9-8, 10-8, Jack 8, Jack 9, 10-9, Jack 10, Queen 10, Queen 9, they have an obvious benefit for shoving. When you shove these hands, people are going to fold the dominating hands. So we're going to see here, big blind all in. You're going to see that we're folding king jack, queen jack, king jack, queen 10, jack 10, king 9. So these hands here really like shoving. They have equity against ace king. They have equity against the pairs, but they also make a lot of hands fold as well. So when big blind goes all in, we're going to see that the buttons folds here, 80% of the time, whatever it is. So I think it's important to recognize how wide we should be shoving here. Some other combos which want to shove are the pocket pairs. They're quite intuitive. Even 4s and 5s are fine shoves, no problem shoving them. If you can ever properly shove 2s, you can always properly shove 5s, so don't worry about that. It's just having some pairs in our calling range, or not unblocking folds, or just not having too many shoves, whatever it may be. So yeah, these are all going to be fine shoves. Ace 10 off plus shoving, that seems reasonable. I'm kind of surprised that maybe ace 9 off is not shoving. So what happens when the big blind goes all in? Yeah, I guess with ace 9, it kind of makes sense that just you never get better to fold and you never get worse to call. Just a good principle to always go by, I think. Suited aces playing a lot more passive. And now let's look at the free bet non-all-in range. So the free bet non-all-in range for value starts at queens plus, ace king suited, ace jack suited, ace 10 suited, obviously for value. It makes a lot of sense. The thing with ace 10 suited is that when you free bet all in, they're going to fold ace 9, right? So when we go all in, you can see here that ace 9 folds, ace 8 folds. So for ace 10 suited, it's such a powerhouse even when called. When you free bet ace 10 suited, all of these hands continue, and you can get shoved on by ace 2 to ace 6. So you're getting all in against these hands that you never would do if you just shoved yourself. So you take the risk by expanding your range with suited combos. You can see that ace king offsuit always wants to shove, ace queen offsuit always wants to shove, ace 10 offsuit always wants to shove, but the suited combos really, really do enjoy free bet non all in. Ace queen suited likes to go all in instead of shoving because he always gets called by ace jack off and ace 10 off. But when you shove with ace 10 suited, you don't get ace 9 off or ace 8 off combos to call you. So that's why ace queen is going all in there. Yeah, I think that's all pretty interesting. Yeah, maybe I've run it also versus cutoffs. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, so I give the button 3 different sizings here versus open from the cutoff. So remember, the cutoff has 40 big blinds. We cover him. So this is quite a generic kind of situation. You have second stack, or one of the biggest stacks in the cutoff, and then the chip leader on the button. And you can see which combos here we're choosing to be aggressive with. Offsuit Broadway, so king jack off, king queen off. I think a lot of people would flat these ones and maybe start free betting these ones. So it's good to see we're not flatting any offsuit combos as the button here. I think a lot of people probably misapply this. The suited our calling range basically is pocket pairs and very, very strong suited hands. I think a lot of people are flat calling 9-8, 10-9, jack 9, queen 9, queen 8, king 8, ace X. I think a lot of people flat call these, where in reality we can see we want to be playing really tight. We don't really want to be playing a pot here against this guy who has a tight range with a 25 big blind stack behind who can just punish us whenever we VPip. Some other interesting things are how the big blind plays against the open. You can see here that not much free betting going on, and not much flat calling going on, sorry. So you can see queen 9 off folding, jack 9 off folding, 10-9 off folding, ace 5, ace 4, ace 3, ace 2, ace 6 all folding. I think people are probably calling ace X a little bit too much. It's my dog doing laps of the house. Yeah, I think people are probably calling ace X too much as the shortest stack. I think that's probably a mistake. You can see from ace 2 to ace 7, it plays very few calls and actually has some aggressive free bets. So that's definitely something to look out for. We can see that these combos here also getting mixed. You can see we get some free bets just from 10-6 suited, jack 8 suited, queen 6 suited. Nothing really to try to memorize or anything, but just to know that, okay, if you feel like it's a good spot and you have a suited combo which isn't either a snap shove or a really easy call like these ones, if you have a blocker, go for it there. Don't just randomly go 6-3 suited or 8-5 suited or 7-6 suited. It always comes from one high card, one low card, so queen 2, king 4, 10-6, jack 8, etc. But yeah, I think this has hopefully been quite interesting, some stuff for you to take away. I'm going to end now. I'm going to keep doing these 15-minute recaps and going through everything. I think simple preflop is a really good tool, and I think it's easy to show you guys using it. So I'm just going to keep doing these 15-minute videos, 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos, going over spots. And if you're not interested in the spot, you can just not watch the video. I'll always show the spot at the start of the video. And yeah, I'm going to end this now. Thanks a lot for watching.